Welcome to the November 14th work session of the Abingdon Town Council. Kim, would you call the roll, please?
I will. Mr. Webb, or Bradley, I'm sorry.
Here.
Ms. Quetch. Here. Mr. Webb.
Here.
Ms. Patterson. Here. And Mayor Craig.
Here. The next item is public comments. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments?
No?
So nobody wants to speak to the town council? I'm disappointed.
Well, hello, town council, I'll speak for you. How about, good evening. Everybody got a jar of molasses there? That's from Fairview, by the way. I told you I was bringing it, so that's what those are from. So,
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a proclamation. Ms. Patterson, Vice Mayor Patterson this morning.
Thank you, Mayor Craig. I would like to read the proclamation recognized in November 2018 as National American Indian Heritage Month. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous people, and whereas the contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedom, prosperity, and greatness of America today, and whereas their customs and traditions are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George Bush in August 1990, designated the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. And whereas in honor of National American Indian Heritage Month, community celebrations as well as numerous cultural, artistic, educational, and historic activities are planned. Now therefore,
I, Wayne Craig, Mayor of the Town of Abingdon, by virtue of the authority vested in me as do hereby proclaim November 2018 as the National American Indian Heritage Month in the Town of Abingdon, and urge all our citizens to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. So it's
Mr. Hagee, we'd like to present this to you. Mr. Lewis Hagee. Mr. Hagee brought information to me in regards to this month. And I just want to thank him for sharing this information. And he wrote the president and a couple of presidents about this. And thank you for bringing this to our attention. And we are so happy to present that to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you, Ms.
Our
Gray.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, we now move into the regular agenda items. With the council's permission, I'm going to move item 4 and put it in front of item 3 because Ms. Reichler is on a time frame that she needs to get out as soon as she can. I moved you to 3, not to 1.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think Jane During is on a tight schedule too.
Okay.
Well, have got guests that are here, so.
Okay. Sorry, Stacy.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is discussion regarding completing the parking lot and wheelchair-friendly walkway from parking lot to Muster Ground Visitor Center prior to September 2019. Jane Dillon.
We took a tour with some fellow department heads. As you know, Muster Grounds cannot use the Ferris lot anymore unless something changes drastically. We've got to make other plans. Abingdon owns a sizable piece of property behind the Muster Grounds. If you go in, what's the name of that street? Hagee Street, thank
corner of
you.
Hagee and Fugit.
Okay, I have staff with me tonight. We don't need to pave it. In fact, we'd prefer not to pave it. But we may need to prepare some entryways. So that's the simple part. The more complicated part is if you bring people back behind there, there's a longer way to walk to get to the visitor center. So there's going to have to be some kind of walk, and it's going to have to comply with the Department of Historic Resources. So we don't have a budget for this yet because we don't have that plan. We're going to have to jump through those hoops. We want your approval to move forward with the planning that we need to do to get adequate parking, so that we don't interfere with the Ferris lot anymore.
Okay, Jane, I guess we need to get a cost estimate and put it in our budget. How can we get a cost estimate? Do you need a?
Matthew, can you help with that?
I think we've already started.
Okay.
So it's just the walkways?
So we can do that in-house, Matt?
We should be able to. Yeah, we're gonna, whatever, the complication is DHR has most of the property is in the DHR easement. And it's a strict easement, and so the walkway is going to be necessarily on that. So Leanne's got to work with them, she'll work with Matthew in tandem to make sure, but that's the big factor. The parking lot, Matthew can whip out that estimate fairly easily, because that's just us.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just the walkways we're particularly concerned with here that connects the parking lot to the fairground?
A handicap accessible walkway, yes.
Monticello has them, Mount Vernon has them, there's bound to be a way to do it.
Thank you, I've gotten that eventually. Yes, it should be very possible.
Okay, I think we can probably move with this, just with the consensus of council instead of placing it on the agenda for actual council action. Can you- what do you think?
Yes, I think as far as that, we also had talked when we were out there that day about the 2 or 3 events each year where there's a lot of public input of running some type of shuttle for some of the older or infirmed people from that parking lot. And then utilizing what small parking is available in front of the interpretive center for handicap parking only,
Okay,
on those, particularly on those days.
all right.
I have a question.
Sure,
whenever-
sure, go right ahead.
Question being, along the back part of where Mulhagey Street, Fugit Street is, right there, where the parking lot is back there now, you go into the back part of the muster grounds, there's a long lot, a real long lot, left to right, and that's before you get to the fence, and then you get to the museum, and then the house. So that lot in there, is that where any activities take place there as well, or is it mostly down into the other part where the creek is and all the flat land in there?
During that September call to arms, there are stations that do encompass pretty much the whole property. Not a whole lot up on that upper section, so and Leanne said she can work around that as needed when the walkway gets put into place.
Okay.
But that is the walkway that she's talking about to get from there to the building.
To the building, yeah,
So
right
that's
behind, yes. I get that, and I've been up there several times looking at the property and seeing how it was all laid out and everything and what could be done.
Also, that section has, when they do the reenactments for Civil War and for Revolutionary War, that's a big part of the site that they do the battle part on. So they use that, so the sidewalk would actually come up along behind where the condos are and kind of work its way down that side, so it won't interfere with other activities going on.
That's also more level, so we're thinking the more level walkway is best.
And maybe when we get this implemented, there'll be a lot more activities down there. I'm hoping in the future, because right now, how many of y'all have an estimate of how many, anybody?
I don't have that estimate with me. I do know that Monica is very successful bringing tours in. It's a very attractive venue for tours. One of the challenges, we had a recent group of 30. It was a rainy, cold day, and the only space they have to collect 30 people is in that lean-to porch, and they're older. They tend to be older, so it's not very comfortable. I would ask that as this council plans what to do with historic properties, consider retirement strongly, because it isn't a place that we could get a return on investment fairly quickly, and we could house those groups in it and have an immediate return. So I'll just plant that seed. Please consider retirement as a priority, because it is usable right now.
Well, there certainly has been a lot of investment, and I see your point there.
Mhm.
It's a nice piece of property. I think the house just needs to be continue to be kept and repainted.
We could put
So-
30 people in there, every week, groups of 30 people with every tour. And they'd be comfortable and it wouldn't be weather reliant. We could have it could be a lot of fun. And history is something that tourism has not thoroughly, I'm gonna use the word exploited, but don't think of that as a negative. We have not fully fleshed out how we can utilize it as a tool. And that is one of our priorities for the coming months, to research and see how we can further expand on that. Right now, we're kind of tied, so if you bring a lot more people to muster grounds, you're gonna disappoint your customer. So it all has to happen kind of at the same time.
Chuck, when do you need this estimate? First of the year?
If Matt wants to, we can get, we just have to make sure we include it in the right budget line. We can work on that as long as I have it. Mid-February, we should be good.
Oh, mid-February, okay. Is that a problem, Matt? Okay. All right, are you all okay with this, Derek? Moving ahead? Cindy, Al? Okay.
Yes.
You got the next item.
I do, and I must say that my excitement over this next agenda item overshadowed the number one agenda item, so I appreciate the help from all of y'all. Thank you. We are very excited. I've got some friends with me tonight. We've got Lisa Quigley with Virginia Creeper Trail. We've got Emily Mayo, who's the outdoor rec person with Friends of Southwest Virginia. And then the department heads that have been working with me on this, Tanya, Kevin, Floyd, and where's my other person? Okay, that's it. Okay. I'm a little rattled because I'm kind of excited and I'm so sorry. One of the challenges that has faced Abingdon for a while, tourism and the town in general, is addressing the question, what's new? We get calls from media on an almost daily basis, and they ask Amanda, our marketing person, what have you got new for us to talk about it? And she spins the message a lot. New specials at a certain place or new features at a certain place, but if they're not satisfied, they hang up the phone really quickly and move on to the next call. Virginia Tourism Corporation every year puts out a book, What's New to Love in Virginia. This is their media pitch book. They use this book to take to every media pitch across the world, London, New York City, wherever there's a major media office. And if we don't have something new in here, then we're not part of that pitch. These yellow Post-its are all Southwest Virginia, and Abingdon has one mention, and this is their 2018 issue. So what's new is a pressing issue for us. So collectively, how many times have we all asked, what's the next big thing for Abingdon? Or we need another idea like the Virginia Creeper Trail. And when we search for these ideas, we have to consider what fits our brand, what fits our values, being green, appreciating nature, what will complement our resources, and what is achievable. What will build our economy, whether in terms of helping to attract new businesses or provide a recruitment or retention tool for existing businesses, and of course, attracting tourists. Tourism, Parks and Rec, Economic Development, IT, and partners with Southwest Virginia and Virginia Creeper Trail are here today to present a solution. The Great Knobs Mountain Bike Park, to be located on the land behind the wastewater treatment center. Town of Abingdon already owns the land. It's been sitting there for a while. You'd be hard pressed to find another purpose. What if we made it work for us? So what is a mountain bike park? It provides safe surroundings for healthy lifestyles. It promotes health and fitness for families seeking a healthy lifestyle close to home. It is an attraction for tourists. It accommodates bikes of all kinds, riders of all ages and skills, and helps build confidence in those skills. And it works to develop a strong sense of community. So who wants a bike park? Well, we looked at our neighbors in western North Carolina and we found a study. 435,000 mountain bike visits a year to the Nantahala and Pisgah National Forest mountain bike trails. Of those 435,000 visits, 60% are from locals, 40% or 174,000 are from visitors. And this is a valuable demographic. Average annual income for a mountain bike rider is $80,000. They love their toys. That's why stores pop up around mountain bike trails. To couple that impact, multi-generational travel, family travel is back. They want to go to one destination, but they want to split off, have fun during the day, collect back for dinner, talk about what they did. So why should you build a mountain bike park? Well, it is an economic engine. We've seen that with the Virginia Creeper Trail. It works to attract new businesses and work as employee recruitment and retention, healthy community. It fits our brand and complements what we're already doing. It also provides a very important connection of the both ends of Abingdon. How many times have we felt we go through that dead zone after the main street and getting people down to the other end of Abingdon? It attracts a new demographic to Abingdon, multi-generational travel, as I mentioned, and it complements the Virginia Creeper Trail and will help establish the urban pathway as just that. People are more likely to take a path that leads to a destination. This will create more bike traffic moving past the shops. So one of our burdens is to connect trails to cash boxes. If we have a bunch of people moving through town on bikes, they're going to buy some fudge, and they're going to buy lunch, and they're going to buy bicycles, etc. So this is a way to add to our total number of visitors. It's an unduplicated audience for us, which will benefit the traffic of town overall, but also barter, more potential people for barter, shops, restaurants, and retailers. And as I said earlier, we already own this land. This use fits the land perfectly. Let's make it work for us. So where can you fit trails and features into your community? We've got about 130 acres available behind the wastewater treatment plant. The entire plot's about 144. We've allowed for wastewater. We've allowed for the police shooting range. The police shooting range backs up to pretty much a cliff, and then we're talking about the area that's after that cliff. So it's very well protected. So what's involved? Planning, planning, planning. The first step is what we call Envision. And we've talked to International Mountain Bike Association. This is a sole source for expert advice. They have a division called Trail Solutions that does just this. So they would be our vital partner. They will conduct a study that will tell us what the park will look like. How, and this is a very important component, how will it be integrated and connected to Virginia Creeper Trail, to Abingdon and other points of interest. What the trail will look like. Points of interest during the trail. Is there a scenic overlook? Is there a particular, where do you want people to pause? Where do you want people to speed through? The best use of that land as far as trails are concerned to maximize our attraction. So what IMBA would do is send a couple of staff people to put their feet on the ground, meet with folks like you, talk to the community, survey the community, and figure out how this comprehensive plan would work. Their deliverables are a site survey, a concept document, illustration with description of trail experience. What kind of experience is this? Is it a black, which is a very technical trail? Is it a blue trail, which is a medium trail? Or is it a combination, which is what we'd like to see? The outline of the trail specs, the trail width, the slope, the surface, the tread, the amount of mileage, and they would produce a map graphic and a comprehensive trail plan for Abingdon, including bike parks along the way, that we could then take to plan further. So that is the first step. So why work with International Mountain Bike Association and Trail Solutions? They invented the wheel, the bicycle wheel in this case, but they invented the wheel. They'll help us arrive at a plan that is ideal for Abingdon, and getting IMBA's deep well of knowledge and experience helps us from doing it right from the first. They provide a comprehensive view that prevents pitfalls and having to redo things. It's cost savings by doing it right the first time. It minimizes risk because they go into the whole planning process with that in mind. It optimizes growth and impact. And IMBA trails get more traffic. It's like the good housekeeping seal of approval. If somebody sees it's an IMBA certified trail, they're gonna seek it out. And mountain bike riders travel a long distance to ride trails. So you can divide this project into 5 distinct phases, and then when you get to construction, you often phase in how many miles you build at once. So you could have 3 sub-phases within construction. But the first is the envision process that we would suggest to complete in 2019. Then that informs the design, because until you have these things of what is possible, you can't design a trail responsibly. And then the design informs the document, and that's the construction document. That gives you your final materials, your budget can be made for the trail at that point. And then your implementation, which is construction, which again can be broken down in phases. And then after that, it's marketing, trail management, and reevaluating and tweaking. And sometimes if you get new property, there is an estate property that is adjacent to this land. If the town were ever to acquire that, we could add to the park. So this is a timely opportunity for this council to create a transformational legacy that is no less significant than that of the Virginia Creeper Trail. It's the right idea at the right time. Today we are asking Abingdon Town Council to authorize us to move forward with the envision phase with the anticipated cost not to exceed $20,000.
Okay, first question I've got is, can we do this without going through procurement, Ken?
Right. And I guess that stage would be under $80,000 is, and so I think you probably do it in that stage. We can't sequence things that would get over the limit that would, so we have to think about that.
So we can honor her request for $20,000?
Well, yeah, I think we'd have to know about what more the steps is. You can't, I guess this might go over different years and that sort of thing, but you can't partition off different sections of things that combined would go over the limit. See what I'm saying?
And the limit's 80,000?
Well, that's for professional services. And I assume that what they're doing would fall under that category. I'm not sure in the code what mountain bike design is category.
I think it's professional.
But it probably.
Can this not be under sole source since that's their only
Because
company
there's only
out
one
that's designing
IMBA,
this?
and that is the seal of approval that helps with marketing and.
Maybe.
Because that's the reason we sought this direction, I mean, part of the reason, because we wanted to make sure we had the right plan in place going forward with them.
And I see what you're saying. I think you're saying maybe they're the most qualified, maybe not so much.
And we want them on the front
only
end.
source.
The steps I see IMBA, and Emily, maybe you can chime in as our trail building expert, but I see them with the original survey and with the design. But the document could be taken from the design, and we don't necessarily need IMBA for that.
And the thing with working with IMBA is they also have a huge marketing network that they're bringing people from outside the region in, from all over the world. And there's a couple of really good case studies with Boone and Northwest Arkansas that have done this as a region. And over time, your impact is so much greater. And you don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel like Jane was saying.
So your return on investment is by going with IMBA.
I'm not arguing against
Yeah.
the substance of any of them. I just want to do it legally. So,
We do too. I'm thinking if and I don't know, but I'm thinking the envision certainly is well below that 80,000 mark. And the design, I can't imagine that's gonna get us to 80. I don't know.
Well, we can do those separately though, can't we? can?
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, if this is just one section of a bigger contract, then you can't take it 20,000,
But we could add to the contract. Well, and you go out for procurement for the design if we needed to, couldn't it?
Right,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
I've got a couple
If you're gonna, on that point, Mayor, if, I presume that you're gonna put it on the next council meeting for discussion.
That's what I've got in mind. We're gonna have to come up with some funding somewhere, and
Yeah,
she
so
wants to go ahead right away.
So why don't
Well,
you-
what,
Yeah, well, prior to, well, before, in between now and the next council meeting, I can research that and I can get back to you.
We
But
could
I
make
think-
the 20,000 available and let them iron out the details.
Well, we can't do that in a work session. We'll have to do that in a regular meeting. We can, but
We'd be better off if you could do that.
we'll do it in a regular, we've got a meeting coming up, the 3rd of December, not too long
If we were having a regular meeting tonight, we could do it.
ago. I
just wanted to
knew you
point that
wanted to rub it in.
One other thing I'd like to point out is, when the deed to the Virginia Creeper Trail has an easement for Norfolk Southern to access some property they have back there in the Knobs. And you might want to investigate whether that can be loosened up from them or not. There's a big tract of land back there in the Knobs that they own.
huh, okay.
And they have a right of way using the Creeper Trail to get to it. They've never, as far as I know, they've never used it.
No, and I've not had any success when I've tried to work over the last several years, trying to get them to let us
Yeah,
take the,
you have to find the right person in the right place to talk to.
and I had all French's contacts, and
Yeah,
even
they're
those
all-
people that he was originally, you know,
They're gone.
nobody's letting go of that. I don't know why, it still doesn't make sense, but yes, that parcel is still there.
They've had several shakeups since then.
Yeah. Since he finished.
Excuse me.
She wanted to, she's got questions.
You have any more questions or comments? Okay,
I'm through. You're right.
I don't wanna interrupt.
Didn't need to jump in the pit.
I'm sorry. I'm sure y'all are already on top of this, but my question, I've been listening quite intently on, a lot of my meetings that I go to, and of course this one as well. This sounds like a great plan. Thank you all for your hard work too, everybody, on this. Outdoor rec grants, y'all are already looking into that.
I have a gift for you.
Thank you.
By doing it in phases, there's opportunity for public-private partnerships and for grants. I mentioned to a citizen this plan, and this person was so excited about this prospect and believed it as part of the vision and future for Abingdon. And this anonymous donor will underwrite $10,000 of this initial $20,000 as a gift to the town.
All right. That's terrific.
Sounds good to me.
Sounded great to me.
And I hope this doesn't embarrass anybody, but I'm gonna ask this question just because I think I have to. You've already looked at your tourism dollars to see if you've got anything in the budget, and that's why you're coming to us.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
thought I'd ask.
Yes,
okay?
good
The
question.
only source we've got for funding right now is the council
You know,
contingency.
contingency line, yes.
Okay. Jane, if we put this on the agenda for December the 5th, is that soon enough for you?
Yes, sir.
And you need $10,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Will you put that on the agenda, Kim?
And just redo this presentation, basically?
I don't think we'll need that.
Okay, I'll be prepared for,
Unless some member of the council wants it, I don't, well, I already made up my mind, I'm gonna vote for it.
well, thank you. Would you like to see a 1.5-minute video of a new trail in Knox? It's a 1.5 minutes. It's a new trail in Knoxville, and it's pretty thrilling.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be nice.
And thank you for your time and your attention and your vision. This is so exciting for us.
Thank you all for your
Yes, yes.
Thank you. We're excited too, aren't we, guys and girls?
This is gonna be awesome.
I know it is.
Usually gravity riding is something that you do on the weekend because you have to have the time to load up, drive out in the middle of nowhere, and make a day of it. Most of the places that we race are 3 hours from any kind of civilization. to be able to do it after work or in the afternoon or after school makes it way more accessible for a lot more people.
Pretty thrilling. Now, there's some easier trails involved with that. They don't show you all the easy trails, and we would want a combination. Thank you again. You gave me good goosebumps, and now we're just going to celebrate a little bit. Thank you.
Well, we decided that at the dedication of this, that for the inaugural ride, we want one of the 5 council members to take the first ride. So be prepared. You're a little bit of time off, but you got plenty of time to get ready.
Kevin, they said yes. There's right on now.
Believe it or not, I used to be able to ride, and I did put one summer, 2,000 miles on that bike trail out there at the Creeper Trail, 1994 or 5.
Yeah, that's great.
One day, I hope to do that again.
You could do that on a
Next
horse.
Lord's Day.
I know that, it's much easier on me.
I don't know if it's as cheap though.
No.
No, not in the long run.
No, you stop riding the bicycle, it stops costing.
Okay,
Ms. Durham, one other thing, at some point we'll have to address the issue of liability.
Yes.
Yes, and we
Yeah,
had, that's
sure
built in, that's
that-
cooked into the formula.
I'm sure that Mountain Bikes Association is.
And Bayport should be amenable to it.
Okay, good.
No more danger there than there is on the skate park, according to VML, Baycore and all that, so
Okay, good.
we're
Just off Fences Boulevard.
good.
That's good.
I've had lots of brain power around the table.
I could use
Let's
some.
me out.
That's great.
Okay. Is there any more questions, Council, or anything we?
No, it's just exciting though. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
I think it fits perfect for the town.
I think by your willingness to create a comprehensive plan and connect both ends, and the urban pathway will now become really a pathway. Thank you.
Okay, Stacy, you're next.
Shall I go first? Mine's so boring to hear that. I cannot top it, as usual. No. Getting good joke? No, that's Julie's territory.
While she's handing out papers, what do you call them, too many dogs?
I've never heard those. That's a big person on
Oh, thank you.
What happened with the council burn? Change the tab. Keep that.
All right, this is round 2 of the annual leave options. But basically, took your feedback from the last session and reverted back to the original accruals. And what you're seeing in yellow is just going to be tightened up verbiage for the policy. So we can start on page 24. I can go through it highlighted section by highlighted section if you would prefer me to do that. Okay, so on the top there it talks about annual leave benefits, and we've basically just defined a benefit year and outlined that the town of Abingdon runs on a fiscal year cycle, July 1 through June 30. That's cleaning up the language on that. If you move down to the bottom part of the page, even though people should know this, we have highlighted you cannot request to use your vacation time before it is earned. And we are telling them that earned time is added to your balance on the last payday of the month, and that the town's payday occurs bi-weekly on Fridays. Flipping the page, we're removing the red language, and we're replacing it with the amount carried over cannot exceed the maximum allowed totals. See the table on page 25, which is right below there. Moving on to page 26, removing the red language and replacing it with the yellow highlighted. And this is where we're talking about PTO, which is the paid time off front-loaded program. So any town employee hired prior to July 1 may opt in to the PTO program from June 1 to June 15 of the fiscal year, and once an employee has opted in, they cannot opt out. And then what we need your approval on, because it is a policy change, is going to be this next section, which is how the time is going to be given to new employees who are brought in, and then how it's also going to be paid out. So for existing employees on the PTO, they're going to be front-loaded on July 1st. But any new employee coming in, we're going to break it down on a quarterly cycle. So if they're hired between January and March, they will accrue on July 1st, and it'll be 136 hours. April through June, they're going to accrue on October 1st, 120 hours, and so on and so forth. Now, they cannot carry over a maximum, they can only carry over a maximum of 40 hours. And if they haven't used their time by June 30th, they'll lose everything but the 40 hours to carry over until July 1st. Does anyone have any questions about those pieces up to this point? No? Okay. And then basically at the bottom of the page, we have just cleaned up the language so that people understand that if they move into the PTO program and they do have sick leave, it will stay in a sick leave bank, but they cannot access it just to call in sick. They have to, it has to be for an emergency, or they have to have exhausted all of their PTO time. Does that make sense to everyone? And we've also cleaned it up stating that if they do leave and have sick time, that they have to be vested with the town, which is 5 years before they can get their 25% payout of sick time. And then on page 27, talks about separation of employment on the PTO program. So currently, if you are on the PTO program and we front load you on July 1st, 160 hours, and then all of a sudden you decide you want to leave in August, we're beholden to that time, 160 hours. So we're cleaning up the verbiage to put it on a 1/12 payout scale. So if they're front-loaded in July and they leave in August, they're only going to be paid out for the 1/12 of the time that they stayed, because we're front-loading on the good faith assumption that you're going to be working for the town for that entire year. Any questions on that so far? See, no excitement, Jane. None. None. All right. Page 28 is basically cleaning up the verbiage for the sick leave benefits, because once you're on PTO plan, you no longer have sick leave benefits. So we put that verbiage in there, and also put in that you cannot request to use sick time before it is earned, along with the verbiage that the town's payday occurs bi-weekly on Fridays. And then on page 29, we've added the language for you must be vested 5 years with the town before you get your 25% payout of the sick leave. Does anyone have any questions?
Why 5 years for vestment?
That's the typical time period for vesting.
Sounds more like a sentence. 5
It's
years.
kind of like the VRS, it just molds the VRS vested Now, if you stay at VRS up until 4 years, you're not vested, but once you get that fifth year in VRS, you're vested and have your benefits for whatever length of time.
Not criticism, I just wanted to know.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Is this, we don't have a staff uprising if we decide to pass this?
Well, the PTO plan's already in place. It's just the difference in how they receive
I
it.
understand.
So we've talked about it in a staff meeting. I think that Chief Sullivan gave a couple of feedback suggestions in regards to tweaking the language. We've done that. I think Mr. Bailey had some thoughts or concerns. I don't know if he would like to speak to those this evening or not. But in regards to the staff, I think the employees like having their time up front. The onus is on them and the department head when it comes to managing it. We don't do unpaid leaves, so it really is your responsibility to be able to know how much time you have and when you take it off. But no, I don't think we're going to have an uprising.
As far as paying it out, that's one of the officers, when they looked at the, they were reviewing the policy, they just noticed that that's, if you front load on July and somebody leaves in August, you're out for 160 hours. I know Donna, as a business owner, wouldn't like that at all. So making, putting the 1/12 in there per month, pay it out upon separation, it just reduces your liability considerably.
Mr. Bailey has something he'd like to say.
I would like to speak to it, and it's not a criticism against anybody who's developed the plan. Because actually, I am very vocal about the fact that I like the idea of a paid time off policy, where we all, it doesn't matter whether you're sick or on vacation, you just have paid time off. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have some struggles with the way it's being implemented. My biggest struggle with even feeling personally pushed toward the PTO plan is that 40 hours of sick time goes nowhere when you have a heart attack. 40 hours of sick time doesn't help you when you have cancer or when you get in an automobile accident. 40 hours is not a whole lot of anything when you really need it, even if you need to use that sick time for a sick parent. And I realize at my age, I kind of think of all those things, the reality of that potential possibility. And so, I'm lucky because I have the maximum allowed accrued sick time. So I don't earn a sick day. Well, I took some off like last month because my parents are sick. And so now I started earning again. But the fact is I've gone for a long time without earning anything at all. And it's not that I have a problem with not earning it. It's that because if that was the policy across the board, it seems like to me there are fixes that need to be addressed that are not being addressed. I realize there's problems with the current policy, but it all needs to be overhauled to be fixed to suit the real needs. If we're just looking at it from an audit standpoint, okay, but I think there are real issues. And the main thing is I think the PTO is too restrictive on the sick leave. I think that, she pointed out to me that there's 1,000 hours of FMLA. Well,
Short-term disability.
Short-term disability, okay. So there's 1,000 hours for short-term disability, and I have to say I can use all my sick time and still have that 1,000 hours at the end, at the end of my sick time. So the point is that that I don't think that's an escape for the town to do something good for its employees with sick and vacation time. My concern also is this, and I think you'll understand this as a department head. If I were to encourage my employees and myself to jump to the PTO plan, each of us, because of our tenure, would have, I think, about 5 weeks a year for vacation time and sick time. Let's just say we saved the 40 hours like we were supposed to. That would leave us each with 4 weeks a year for vacation time. I'm a department of 3. That, in essence, means if we all use our vacation time, for 3 months out of the year, I'm a staff of 2. Because I'm gone for a month, John's gone for a month, CJ's gone for a month. That doesn't work. You know, we can't work that way. We don't have enough employees to manage that way. And so what happens is somebody gets shafted. Somebody gets told, no, sorry, you can't take your time off. Because we can't afford for you to be gone. And I know you've earned those 4 weeks, but sorry, you're gonna have to lose it. So my point is simply this: if you can't use the time, what good is it giving it to you? Let's have a policy in place that allows for banking of time somehow, some way. And I have read the Government Accounting Standards Board statements. 16 is the particular one that addresses leave. And I realize there's a formula for accounting for the town's liability, and it is a very complicated formula, but it's a reality that every organization, every government body addresses. And the fact is it doesn't stop governments from having really good benefits, because that's what governments do. I think Al stated it last time. Governments don't always pay the best, but they have really good benefits. And so if we turn ourselves into an organization that has benefits equal to the local corporations, then we're kind of kicking ourselves in the tail when it comes to hiring, because they can get the same benefits everywhere else. It's not a matter of what they can get somewhere else. It's a matter of the fact that we want the best employees we can get, because we do have really good benefit structure. That's my opinion. I say it. I appreciate Stacy and Chuck and the work that they're doing, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective. It's not a criticism against them personally. It's just a simple reality that I see some holes that I think need to be addressed, and I'm concerned about them in the long run. At the end of the day, you guys have to decide, and I appreciate that. So, thank you.
Thank you. I do just want to address one thing. Mr. Bailey is making it seem like we're taking everybody and putting them on this PTO plan. That is not the case. We currently have approximately 30 employees who are on this plan, new hires, and people of tenure who prefer to be on this plan because they like to schedule their vacations. They like to know that 160 hours is going to be there, and they plan out their vacations accordingly. Again, it is your decision. Just presented the details, so I will be happy to answer any further questions that you have.
I want to make a statement. I am retired from the state of Tennessee. In July of 1977, I was on vacation up here in Abingdon, and my father got a heart attack. So they converted my vacation time over to sick time. It lasted up until in August of 1977. But later on, when I retired from the state, I had 1 year's sick leave time that had been accumulated. And at that time, the superintendent wanted me to go to see a doctor and get a doctor's certificate to say that I was sick, so they would pay me, for that 1 year's sick time. But I took the plan for them to convert that accumulated sick time over to service time, which they did.
Thank you.
But President Clinton signed a bill in his office that pertained to people that were sick, that they would be off with their family members.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Council, what do you all wanna do with this? You wanna put it on the agenda for December the 3rd, or what do you wanna do?
I'd like some more information. I wanna understand this a little bit better. I know.
Is
What
there something in
information do you
particular that you're looking for that maybe we can provide to you prior to?
Well, first of all, I guess questions. Let me start with that.
Sure.
When you pass this down to the department heads, and then they pass it down to the employees, did you all get any reactions or any feedback from that point?
Okay, the PTO plan's been in place for a year, since
Right.
July of last year. The biggest concern that they had was that they were not being forced to be put on the PTO plan, and they're not. It is absolutely a choice. If, except for new people or new hires that are coming in after July 1, 2017. But a tenured employee does not have to go to the PTO plan. They accrue based on their years of service, 8 hours of sick per month, and again, based on their years of service, anywhere from 8 to 16 hours of vacation a month. If the plan's not for everybody, if they don't want to move to the PTO plan, if they just want to continue to accrue it as they're doing, then that's their choice, and we fully support that. We're not strong-arming or forcing anyone to go to the plan. It is strictly a personal choice for them to do so.
Do you have any information that the PTO for new hires is a deterrent to hiring anybody?
I don't have any information like that now.
I actually chose to go to it just for the simple fact that, you can, I mean, I know when my daughters are gonna be home on, both of them have schedules. One of them's a pharmacist and definitely knows what that's like, and the other one only has certain times off, and I know when she's gonna be home, and I schedule my time off when she's gonna be there, so it is, to me, I like my family, and I like to spend time with my family, so being able to do that when they're available was a benefit to me, and that's why I chose to go to it. I was accruing like everybody else, but I was like, this makes more sense to me at this point in time in my life. If I was, like I won't be here 25 years with the town, so it wouldn't, if I was going to spend that length of time with the town, then, I probably would have stayed where I was at. But, I'm so far up in BRS, it comes to mind when you choose to spend time with your family, and that's what I chose to do.
Now, I can tell you that when I have interviewed with wastewater, we just hired an operator trainee, town shop. When we give the list of benefits to the people that are being interviewed, they're blown away by them. And I understand Floyd's concerns. But running a small department should not prohibit your employees from taking their vacation, whether they're on the PTO plan or whether they're doing an accrual.
I agree with that.
I mean, vacation's there for you to take the time so that you can regenerate yourself, refresh yourself. It's important on every level. So that, and I know we've talked about that before, sounds more like a staffing issue.
No, but that's what we were told, is that if we don't have the staff, we have to tell people they can't take their vacation. That's
I'm not
what
sure
we
where
were
that came from.
told last department head meeting. Those exact words.
That, you're taking that out of context, I think.
Okay.
I understood that as well, that the department head has the,
The department head has the discretion of denying time off if the person is blowing through their time, sorry for the phrasing, or using so much of their time in the first part of the year that they're not gonna have any time left going into the second half of the year. It wasn't, you can tell your employee no because you're short-staffed.
The police
misunderstood that,
department, the
thank you.
police department struggles because they have staffing issues. They're a much larger department.
Sure.
But they have, as they've have, I think they have probably 5 or 6 new police officers that are on the PTO plan. And because they're on the PTO plan, they already have staffing, how they get enough guys to run the street. And what I promise you is that you will see a continued demand for more police officers as a result, just simply because people have to take their PTO time. or they lose it. And I'm not, listen, I like PTO time. I'm just saying you need to be able to keep it. I don't wanna give it to them and then say, if you can't take it this year, fine, keep it for next year.
Let me this question. It just keeps running through my mind. If it's voluntary,
Right.
yeah, what's the problem?
Okay.
You don't have to.
All right. Okay, I'll answer the question because
Okay,
you
that
asked it,
escapes me.
and I will explain how it is from our perspective.
Okay, good.
I've been here 12 years. I got currently 120 hours of vacation time. Okay? I earn my vacation time at 10 hours a month. 10 hours a month. So if I burn down my vacation time, 10 hours a month, it takes me, what, 12 months to earn 120 hours. Okay? A PTO person coming in brand new gets 160 hours front loaded.
The one thing, you're not
Plus
also
the sick,
earning, you're
I
also earning your
understand,
sick leave.
I
too.
understand I have the sick leave on the other side, I understand that, that's 8 hours a month. But here's my point though, what I have to, a first year employee gets 160 hours, okay, on the PTO plan. I'm earning 120 hours a year after 12, 13 years of service. Don't have a problem with that. Understand I have the sick leave on top of that. Can't use it for anything but sick. Okay? Have to have a note if I go more than 3 days. But, which is okay. I understand the policy. And I'm for policy. But what I'm saying is that a second year, okay, so the first year employee comes in, gets their 160 hours at July 1. When they hit their second year, they've saved 40, right? They get added another 160, so now they have a accumulated total of 200 hours in their second year of service. I'm still earning my 10 hours a month, okay? And so what I'm trying to explain is that at the end of the day, we have created a system that makes it more desirable for me to go to the PTO plan. I'm telling you, I feel pressured in my heart, thinking, I should go to the PTO plan. I'm getting robbed. And you know, because I would get more vacation if I was on the PTO plan. But the fact of the matter is, if I go to the PTO plan, I throw away my ability to be a long-term employee where I have saved up the 380 hours and the 800 hours of sick. You see what I'm saying? It's like we're saying if you don't go to the PTO plan, you can't have the benefit that you've always enjoyed. It's completely a change of benefit. And it's not that I'm against the benefit plan. I'm saying it needs to be tweaked and it needs to be fixed so that, number one, they have more than 40 hours in their sick bank. They need more than 40 hours in their sick bank. I believe that with all my heart, and I mean that for all the right reasons. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I want people to have what they need when they need it, especially when there's a family emergency or a personal health crisis. And so the reason I say I feel pressure to go to the
But
PTO.
normally that's short-term disability with almost anybody.
Normally, but see what I'm telling you is, with the town providing a good benefit plan, you still have the short-term disability. You're not voiding out the short-term disability plan by giving employees the ability to
But
earn.
you still haven't answered my question.
Okay.
If you're all right with what you got, why don't you just stay there?
Do you-
Be happy.
Because I'm saying that it doesn't make sense to me that a second-year employee has more available vacation time than a 15, 20, 30-year. I'm not talking about just from my perspective.
Then go to the other plan.
In
And-
15 years, though, you should have a
Here's what I-
384,
Here's what I say,
max.
and I know that it builds over time.
Everything you built up if you went to the other plan.
Right. If you give us our time, I think everybody'd go to the PTO plan.
The numbers you need to, you're getting part of the story. The rest of the story is if you add the sick leave into it. So you've got, in his case, he say he's got 12, he's earning whatever, 10 hours, 12 months, 120 hours. Plus, you get another 96 sick. So 120 and 96, 216.
But
The most a PTO person could ever have is 200. He's ahead by 16 hours.
I can't earn the sick because I'm capped out. And so I'm earning nothing.
Then
And
you've got exactly what Wayne's saying.
and we've got people that are capped out on vacation and they can't earn anything. But Wayne, Mayor, if a person who's capped out gives up all their time, yeah, they can go to the PTO plan.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, let them keep it.
Well,
They can
we-
keep their sick.
the reason that I'm hearing that we need to fix it, it makes perfect sense to me, is that we're accumulating a liability that's affecting our.
And I have asked for an auditor's written statement to that effect.
Floyd.
Because
We just received a draft, and I informed you of that when you came into my office.
that's all I wanna see.
And Chuck, I think, actually has the draft from the auditor. And when we spoke at the last council session, the $1.35 million in other post-employment benefit liability was low.
Yeah, I think the.
Other post-employment benefit does not apply to sick and vacation time accrued while employed. It only applies to benefits granted to an employee after they have post-employment. They are no longer employed.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, we're going
Yeah, we're getting
afield.
deep into this thing.
What I'm hearing is, way
I'm
afield.
hearing there's some controversy,
What I
right?
hear-
and that's the only point I wanna make. I'm,
What I'm hearing is this needs work.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so basically, the only
Okay.
change that I'm asking that you make is is how it's paid out and how we allot it to the employees. PTO plan's already in place. If you continue as is, we're paying it out at 160 hours when people leave, and they're accruing 8 hours of sick and vacation a month until their 1-year anniversary. So the only change is how it's paid out and accrued.
And the owners are driving this?
Well,
Is the tail wagging the
Cam
dog?
can, up to BBU.
I encourage all of you to go Google what they said, other post-employment benefits, OPEBs. And you will see municipalities across the country going bankrupt because the way that these liabilities have been ordered by GASB and other accounting groups to be held on municipalities' books are crippling municipalities who had, at the beginning, certainly in their employees' best interest to have very good benefits. But what has happened is, if you have a situation where people can carry these hours for a long period of time, and you have good long-term employees who build up these benefits over time, then you're paying out to people $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 for an employee for the benefits that they have accrued. And that has to go on your books as a liability, because if that happens, then you're gonna have to pay it. So that's the difference between why you would have paid time off up front, and it goes, as opposed to it accruing over time, is because it's on the book. But if you wanna change the budget to change it for that purpose and carry it on the books, then that's why this has come up. And it is not an Abingdon issue, this is a nationwide issue. And in the Northeast in particular, people have gotten in bad shape. And it's not even, as you probably can read in the newspaper, it's not even an issue just here, it's an issue all over Southwest Virginia.
There's another issue as far as I'm concerned. The reason you give people vacation is to give them a break,
Yes, sir.
and they should be taking
They
their
should be
vacation.
using it to pad their retirement.
And that's another issue. But I agree with Al, we probably need to hear from our auditor first. and-
They will speak in depth on it. I've asked Brown and Edwards, probably more than you want to know, but they will speak in depth on the OPEB being brought to the face of the financial statements, which is GASB 75, by the way. And they, at the December, they've got to present the audit at the December meeting, and have already reached out to Brown and Edwards to kind of give you all a little more depth into what that means and what it is, and that way you'll make more informed decisions.
And maybe we should visit this website. What is it again?
No, I'm just saying, just Google
OPEB,
it, just
OPEB.
Google
Okay.
OPEB.
Okay.
and municipality and.
And the,
So if I'm-
the specific accounting standard is GASB 75.
GASB what?
GASB, Governmental Accounting Standards Board.
And the issue was municipalities used to have these benefits, but they didn't put them on their books as a liability. And now GASB's saying you've got to.
But it does not include vacation and sick time. It does not. It says so explicitly in Gatsby
Excuse me, we're
75.
gonna get that from our auditor.
Yeah, let the
okay?
CPAs discuss that.
Yeah,
I speak a
will.
language that no one understands.
I don't wanna
Please
get
don't
into.
tell me that, Al. You bring those people in here and they just talk around in circles and I don't get what it is they're saying.
Well, but that, you know, that issue is apart from what your, you know, what the policy decision is. Board, the council can decide whatever it wants to on the policy, and I think that's what Ms. Reichler has said. But the implications of that policy
That's
make
what I
a big
wanna
difference to the
understand.
budget, and that's why the auditor is involved, and books are involved, and my Chuck is involved, is you're gonna have to pay for it. So, no different than building a road or doing anything else. You can say what you wanna say, but you're gonna have to pay for it.
So is it being fair to say, if I'm hearing this correctly, use it or lose it? Is that what, is this kind of where we're going?
So if you
Or where
have
you
100,
wanna go?
well, the PTO plan's already in place. So if I have 160 hours and I'm coming up to June 30th and I have 100 hours left over, I'm gonna lose 60, because I can only carry over 40. That plan's been in place for a
Yeah,
year.
it's been in plan.
The only thing we're asking is that we change, when people leave, they don't get paid the full 160 if they haven't worked, you know, all 12 months, it's paid out on a 1/12 scale. And then when they are hired, it's, they're given their accrual on a quarterly scale because it is manual, because it does have to take place in the finance department by the payroll clerk.
And that's all you need?
That's
That's
all we
all we need.
Well, and recall that there was a proposal, Ms. Patterson, for this to change and just to change altogether, and the council rejected that. So-
Right, yeah.
So, you know, we're on the second or third or fourth iteration down the road.
Well, is there any urgency to make a decision in December? Can we wait till we hear from the auditor?
You can wait until you hear from the auditor,
That's what I-
absolutely.
That's what I prefer to do.
Okay.
I just don't want to miss anything. You know, this is very complex and, you know, we're not getting those benefits, so, you know.
And I would
we wanna
prefer you get
delve
the
in.
information from the auditor. I'm not an
Right.
auditor,
Yeah.
and I would prefer that you ask them the questions and, you know, get the information directly from them.
In the meantime, I suggest all the council members, let's get familiar with what other people are doing and make sure that we're not doing something really dumb. I still say what I've been saying, is that accumulating enormous amounts of vacation it's not what we, at least I think vacation is intended for. I think it's to give you a rest and you'll be a better employee, and we need to take it.
I might point out that when I was a department of one with the town, it was hard for me to take a vacation. And I lost vacation days, you know, annually, just because I hadn't taken vacation and I couldn't take vacation. Really made me mad.
Well, maybe we consider.
And I want to back now.
Al, take tomorrow off.
Maybe we should consider.
Just take tomorrow off.
Thank you.
The
Maybe we
statute of
should-
limitations is probably run out.
Seriously, maybe we should consider paying people, if you're in that position and it's a fact, you know it's a fact, then the fair thing to do would be just to pay them for their vacation.
Might be.
And we wouldn't accumulate any liability that way.
But then you gotta worry about the bean counters, you know, the
Are you,
auditors.
I thought you were pointing at me.
Sorry, that was generic.
It's okay.
It wasn't directed at you.
No worries.
You gotta worry about the bean counters, you know, carry that liability.
Okay, well, anyway, we're not gonna put this on the agenda for December, I think we've decided that, so,
And if you'll remember, in the last meeting, I provided policies from Leesburg, City of Bristol, I think Whitfield was in there. their current policies and what they pay out to their employees per year of service. So if you need that information again, let me know, I'll be happy to send it to you.
I think it's still on my iPad.
Okay, good deal.
Now, how many are on the PTO right now?
Approximately 30.
30.
Okay, all right, I guess that's all for you, Stacy.
Thank you all so much, have a great evening. I'm gonna work hard, thank you so much.
The next item, council is consideration today, our council retreat. Cindy's gonna talk about that.
Do we want to do that, or is it discussion for
Did I skip
non-departmental
something?
budget minutes? I believe Chuck, Mr. Banner's up. No? Yeah,
I don't think I was the only one that did this.
Oh,
But what do you want me to talk
no,
to?
no, I'm sorry, that's interim town manager.
All right,
I'm sorry.
I skipped over that. I guess I'm the person who brought this up, and I think you all have gotten what the last year's non-departmental expenditures were. In the past, we have been cutting this non-departmental expenditures every year, so, at least my experience on council. And I think it preceded me. What I foresee this year is that we're gonna have a revenue shortfall. And if we have to make a revenue adjustment, I personally would have some issues if we don't cut some more of this departmental expenditures. So the reason I'm bringing it up is that I think it would be fair to the organizations that we think we're gonna cut, to give them some notice that prior to January the 1st, when they normally do their budget. So I suggest that we go over this, each individual council member go over this budget, or go over this information that we've been furnished, mark the agencies that you might be willing to reduce contributions to, and turn it in, and we'll decide at the next work session who we send notices to and who we don't. That's a suggestion. And we'll turn our sheets into Chuck. And you can give us a little report for the next work session. Okay. Is that all right?
Yes.
Do you ever just go across, put a percentage across?
There's some that we can't, Donna, it's, some that, I'll have a problem cutting certain agencies, such as the Housing Authority. We can't cut the incubator.
Well, now, do we have an amount that we have in mind that we wanna cut it?
I would suggest that we cut 10, at least 10 to 15%, maybe 20, if we can. If we're looking at a shortfall, Donna, we've got to face the voters with this information, is my thinking. So why are you giving money away and raising revenues? So we can keep that, I've got that in the back of my mind, that's how I'm thinking.
Well, I agree that, we had this library issue where we cut them, and when you pick out people and start cutting, whereas if you just go a percentage across the board, it seems like it's, more fair.
We can do that if that's what you all want to do.
If you're trying to get to a 10 to 20%, I just think if you, it's more fair if you just.
You think that's right, Adam?
Yeah. That way you ain't gonna have somebody come and say, well, why'd you pick me? Why'd you cut me?
Okay, then we can just send out letters to everybody saying that there's gonna be,
I think what you're saying is fair, but I think it's gonna be hard to cut a few.
Well, I know, it's hard to cut in.
No, I totally understand what you're saying, I just.
I think not cutting them all.
I have a problem with cutting them
I don't
off.
wanna do that.
I'll tell you that.
I just think there's a few that are pretty
That's-
reliant upon
We're so,
the
we're so
contribution.
tied to them for revenue, I think it'd be hard for me to cut them.
But, and there are others, I mean, that's not the only one, that's why I say it's just hard to.
I don't know that everybody would get a letter, that's where we'd have to
Well,
have a
then,
breakdown.
then let's, do what I suggested.
Okay, make a list.
All right,
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
Cindy, now you can go with your.
Oh, okay, can I go? Okay. Well, number 5 is gonna be consideration of the date for going forward council retreat / work session, I guess. I met with Ms. Peg Ayers. She is you got some information there on your table about her business. She is a certified trainer with John Maxwell Live to Lead. And I met with Mr. Bidham as well. We all met yesterday. And we had a nice chat about like where we're gonna meet, the time we're gonna meet, what are our goals moving forward, going forward, like what information we want, how do we want it. I just think that we need to get together and discuss some of these things about goals and what I just said, and was hoping that you guys would, or that's not very professional, that ladies and gentlemen, that you would like to go along with this and have a retreat, maybe 4 to 6 hours in one day. And I just need to kind of get an availability of time and put out a few places that we could go and do that. It would be local, and I would suggest no telephones. I don't want any interruptions.
When are we looking, like what
As
month?
soon as possible. November.
We have been talking,
December.
I think the council normally has these retreats, and they sometimes are all day long, even longer.
Sometimes
I think most town
weekends.
councils do. We haven't done it because of all the turmoil we've had in town, and, so it's probably a good idea for us to get together and kind of a relaxed atmosphere and kind of get to know what's important to each of us, and get a better idea of how Bradley's brain functions.
No, was a specific day, you wanna do a weekend day, you wanna do a weekday?
That's up to the council. I'm open for some suggestions. The only time that, and Miss Peg Ayers would be help facilitating this retreat with us to keep us, moving and flowing and guiding us in the right directions. So her days that will not work for her are December 5 and December 14. And I prefer no Christmas and no, Thanksgiving. Of course, I'm being funny, but.
We
I know you
probably
can do
want to have some staff there, so I think a weekday would be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the last week in November?
Okay. What about your calendar?
The last week in November, we've got the Berkeley group at 28.
I've got a Monday. It depends on what time too. Donna, do you have to,
It really
After
needs to be
2,
after 2.
like 2:30?
Let's look at the first week in December. Since we got the Berkeley group already, that,
December 3rd is your council meeting.
Thursday council meeting, the 6th is my day off that week.
the 6th,
Well, no, I take that back, I think the 5th is my day off that week. I'm actually off Wednesday that week.
I can't do it on the 5th. I've got a,
5th is one of the days that the.
Yeah, cause I've got a HPBR meeting that day.
The 7th, Friday?
I've gotta work the rest of that week,
that
the
won't
next
work for
week.
Ken, so.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What did you say the other day in December, the 14th?
She's not.
She's not available on the 14th.
What about the 11th or 12th?
We've got a work session on the 11th.
We could probably do the 12th,
12th.
The 12th would suit me all right.
December 12th, what's everybody look, calendars
About
look
you,
good?
Thursday.
Okay,
Donna, is
so
that all right with you?
That's okay.
And we'll start it at
2:30.
2:30?
And the place, I'm curious, community center, they volunteered, to, you know, they're wanting to do more with facility rental. Community center, William King Arts Center, Mr. Vidham, I forgot where exactly in the Arts Center.
They have a library room, which I think might be appropriate for something during the public input for comprehensive plan, that it may be a little large and it's a long, narrow library room, so it may not be as conducive to the atmosphere you're looking for.
And there, we have a Jubilee House, in, you know, right near Hillman Highway. When you pass Hillman Highway, it's up on
Mr. Vidham?
Yes.
Tanya has a excellent comprehensive list of all the meeting spaces in town. She, whatever size you need, she just left, but I wanna touch base with her. She's, like I said, she's got a comprehensive list of all the meeting spaces in town for any size group.
Staff decide where they want us to meet.
Okay.
Anywhere but here.
I agree with that. New People's Bank. No, we're not going to.
Oh, yeah, that would be great, Al.
The New People's Bank has got a nice room too, so.
Right, she does all those
She knows
places you
them.
wouldn't normally think of, like I would never think
We'll leave it
of.
up
Yeah.
to Tanya.
Okay,
We'll get
leave
with
it to
Tanya.
Tanya then. Can somebody notify Tanya that we'd love to have a place on the 12th of December at 2:30?
What staff are you?
Yeah, what staff? Well, Mr. Vidham is one. Do you have any, what technically, I mean, we've never had a retreat, so we really don't.
Whatever Ken recommends,
Again, it depends if you put items on the agenda that you're wanting to discuss that may indicate what staff would be appropriate to have, at least for parts of the meeting.
Cindy, why don't you talk with Meg and get a little agenda put together, and Peg, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I wish I would, so.
All right, no, that's okay. So Peg and get the agenda, so we'll know what we need.
Yeah, so get her to email us an agenda so Ken will know,
Okay.
what staff to have present.
Yeah, I think part of what I was saying is, if there's particular things council wants to talk about that might have input from staff that, the historic properties might indicate that some people would be appropriate to bring in for that part of the discussion, but maybe wouldn't stay for the whole retreat session.
Okay.
I think part of what we talked about was an opportunity for council to get together and do some visioning among themselves, looking at where you are and where you want to go over the next 2 to 4 years.
Why don't we, each council member text Cindy, what you might like to talk about? Anything in particular?
Is that doable, or do we need to send it to you? Kim?
As long as there's not a group, you can definitely text each other, but not as a group.
You can't reply.
Right.
You cannot reply, just send the email and I will not reply.
Just, yes,
Then-
just to
then you
Cindy.
can Put that, and then Ken can get some idea.
How did we come to this?
What'd you say, Al?
How have we come to this?
How did we come
You'll
to-
send the email and I won't reply.
You may want to talk to her about how she wants to, because she may want to reach out and touch base with each of you herself individually before, so she can get an idea of
Okay. You may want to.
where everybody is and what
Okay,
direction.
cancel that idea about sending an email.
Maybe we should send the emails to Peg. Well, I'll
What
just
what
get
I was
with
saying is
her.
maybe ask, she may want to talk to each of the council members individually for a few minutes as she prepares for putting it together.
Okay. I'll get back with you two and Mr. Vitterman and Mrs. Kingsley with what she wants to do, and that way you all maybe could pass the letter to the council. How's that? Would that be appropriate?
Okay, I believe that completes our agenda. There's one thing that we left hanging, council, and I don't like to leave things hanging. If we need to do anything about this, this benefits that Al thinks needs a little more work, we probably ought to define that for Ken and get the information that we need to make a decision, other than what we'll find out from the auditor. Why don't we put that on the work session, on the December work session, put that item on the work session to be thinking about. Do we want to tackle this issue as Floyd has suggested, or do we want to leave it alone? Let's think about that, if it's all right with you guys, and make a decision at the December work session as to whether we want to expand the effort that we've undertaken with the minor changes to the personnel manual. That we want to look at what he suggested, tweaking it further. I don't know, tweaking is a very nebulous term, so I don't know what he's got in mind, but I think we ought to think about it, and if we need to do more work on the personnel manual, decide that at the December work session. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, well, then the meeting's adjourned. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, may I have one quick second?
Sure.
The legislative days, they have announced that as being January the 24th. Registration is open. If you'd like to attend, let me know. I'll make those reservations and hotel for you if they're in Richmond. And
Say that one more time, I didn't hear that.
the legislative days.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. It's Thursday, January the 24th. If anyone's interested in going.
Would you give a brief description of that so that the new council members?
You'll get to meet with all your legislators and things and discuss with them anything that you have that you'd like to take to them at that time.
And that's 2 days, correct?
No, I think it's
Or
just the
one day?
24th.
You know, maybe we ought to go to that and talk to our legislators about our charter. What do you think?
We need to have nailed out what we want changed if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Exactly what needs changed. So I don't think we really broached that subject.
What day was that?
January the 24th is a Thursday.
You wanna put on the work session agenda discussion of the charter?
Sure.
Okay,
And some suggestions about what they might do.
okay.
And I thought Gatsby was a book by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
I know, that's what I thought when I heard the term.
Well, I know.
And there's one other thing, we'd like to invite you to the employee breakfast, December the 5th. It's at the Coon Center, starting at 7:30 a.m. Breakfast is a.m.
That's early in the morning.
It is early in the morning, December the
Can you
5th.
send us out a
Yeah, please.
Reminder.
Can I ask a question about, it's at 7:30 in the morning?
And I'll send you a calendar invite.
On the council, are you all wanting to go to legislative days, you and Darrell?
What's that now? I'm sorry.
Did you want to go to legislative days in Richmond?
If I can fit it in, I would like to, yes.
Now, the training is also in January.
The date has still not been announced, I looked just a few minutes ago, yes.
And I'm on vacation in January too, which
Are
is
you?
complicated. But now the 24th, I want to try to go to if I can. And then Kevin, did you have something? The Christmas tree lighting?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that the 29th is the Christmas tree lighting on Thursday, the 29th at 6 o'clock at the Humphreys Park. So, you know, all the council would always have an invitation to come to that, and we'll have some opening remarks for anybody in the council would like to address anything or say anything to welcome the public or any of that.
And then we have the parade, I must say that,
First.
on the 1st. And, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but, I was thinking about a horse and carriage for the council to ride in. One horse open sleigh.
Carriage, huh? What type of carriage we riding on? Does things have shops?
I don't know, I'll have to, oh, no, come on, Derek.
I was thinking about
Little
limousine in the
country.
bar.
know, that was my thoughts, but I'll try to see if I can find the one horse sales flag. I don't know if I can or not, I'll see. I thought it would be fun.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah. We'll have to have like a little spell or something, you know, a blanket so we won't freeze to death.
Yes, it's at 6 o'clock.
It
We're
is?
making
Oh, it
elephants
is?
in front of the town hall.
Is it really at 6 this
Oh, yeah,
year?
it's at
Oh, my goodness, that's even more, yeah, it is, isn't it? I've got it already in.
We're making elephants in front of the town hall before spring.
See,
You and I are gonna have to get a scheduling meeting and
Here, is that yours?
I'll send those to you. You just gave me 2 things, right?
Okay, is this, okay, that's one.
Make sure I send it in the right place.
This one.
Hey, Al.
So we're
Let me
trying
show
to-
you,
We're adjourned.
Thank you for the end of the week information.
Well, I'm doing it
Very
hard to
helpful.
keep you informed, but mainly that was my suggestion, for you to be able, you know, for the nation where I am.
Yeah.
Had a very good meeting.
My parents would be very pleased over there.
Yes, they would.
They're pretty much happy with where things are going in town and the sports center. Growing concerns about the stop work.
But now, it's supposed to be back.
Vice Mayor, thank you.
Can I tell, Kim?
That's